Welcome back to another NFL draft video. I just probably ear raped all of you. Sorry about that one. But in this one, we are going to be looking into some NFL draft sleepers. My sleepers, more specifically, Jesus. And to be a good GM, you do have to hit, obviously on your top picks, your top 10s, top 20s, mainly first round, day two kind of picks. However, to be a great GM, you gotta hit on your late round picks. You want to be homegrown. You want to draft guys, extend them, no matter what round they're from or in. Undrafted free agents evenly. Like as we just saw in the Super Bowl, L'Jarius Sneed, he was round 4 or 5, I believe. Brock Purdy, obviously, Mr. Irrelevant. Elijah Mitchell, the backup running back for the 49ers. He was a fourth or fifth, maybe even sixth round pick as well. Like those types of teams, Jalen Watson on the Chiefs, go Cougs. He was a seventh round pick, I believe, or an undrafted free agent, one of the two. And he made big plays last year in the Super Bowl in their playoff run. He had the fumble recovery on the holy hell punt, the muffed punt by Ray McLeod, and I believe it was Daryl Luther or Luther. I think it's Luther. Daryl Luther, who is a rookie, I believe, went off his foot. Just really unfortunate. Big moment in the game, though. Jalen Watson hops on it. Awareness, people. It's a big thing. But, I mean, let's get right into this thing, right? Starting with my man. You've heard his name 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know how many times I have said this man's name, but Blake Watson, the running back out of Memphis, formerly wide receiver. He originally committed to Old Dominion, transfers to Memphis for this last season, and was just as good as he was at Old Dominion, man. He was awesome this year. I mean, I love his vision and his patience as a runner. Then he has the receiving factor to him as well. He's got great hands. He's got a good acceleration and burst. Maybe not the most, you know, like he's not going to run away from you exactly in like an 80-yard foot race. But when you're in between like the 50 to the end zone, that burst is going to get him into the end zone if you give him a lane. And I mean, he doesn't have the best size, but 5'9", 194, maybe muscle up a little bit, get to like 205, 210, still have that burst, and he'll be looking like a goddamn bowling ball out there because he does have pretty good body control, bounces off of guys. Maybe not the best yards after contact exactly. You're not really looking for that, though, with this type of running back. He's going to be, when he gets to the league, he's going to probably be a returner. He'll be third down running back or just, second and long, third and longs, even fourth and longs if the game's coming down to that. So, I mean, you see it there. He had 53 catches this year. 53 for a running back. 480 yards, 3 touchdowns. I don't got much more else to say. I've covered Blake Watson multiple times in these videos, and I'm still a big fan. Just what it is. Now to some other guys. Obviously, these first couple, they're going to be probably guys you're going to see late day 2, maybe at the earliest mid day 2, like a Matt Goncalves, maybe. And then we'll start getting into guys maybe that you haven't heard of too much. But Matt Goncalves, obviously he got injured this year. That's his stat for me, which it really sucks if you're especially a senior going into this year and, you get injured. Draft stock, it was high. He was playing left tackle at the start of this year. He played right tackle in 2022. Moved to the left side this year. Everyone was really there was a lot of hype surrounding that. They're like, okay, this kid's got great size. He's a really good pass blocker. We want to see him get better in the run blocking department. And I think it's mid-December, injured, done for the season. I think it was a foot injury, I'm pretty sure. But regardless, he is a little bit, like I said, underwhelming, I guess, in the run blocking department. He doesn't have that nastiness like Talise or Talise Fuaga or JC Latham might have in the run when run blocking. And NFL scouts do really like that. But if you can develop this guy, he's already a really good pass blocker. He has great hands. He almost never like whiffs when trying to place his hands on defenders. He's got good length as well. And then his anchor. He can, if you try to bull rush him, he's just going to sit back on those back legs and stop you right in your tracks, man. He does have some good power. Really wish we could see that in the run game more. I remember watching I think it was the West Virginia game last year. Obviously 2022, that is. And Goncalves just, it seemed like he was a little bit slow and hesitant to get up to the linebacker level. And I don't know. It seemed very odd, but then when they got down to the red zone, he was really trying to push his running back in. I do remember that, and he was like all hyped up when they got in the end zone. I'm like, okay, well, I want to see more of that on a consistent level. I want to see you like knocking guys over and like, standing over them, not getting a taunting foul, but like letting them know that you're there and you will run them over and go to the next guy and then run them over, even on like a 5-yard run, a 10-yard run. I want to see him make lanes for his running back. Obviously, they had Israel. Oh man, his last name's hard to say. Abba. There's no way I'm gonna say his. I think it's like Abaconda. Israel Abaconda. I so butchered that. I'm sorry. He was a good back though last year. He's on the Jets now, and I feel like there was multiple times where Goncalves had a chance in that West Virginia game that I watched that he could have had the chance to break open some holes and some lanes for Israel, but definitely something to work on is the run block, but a super good pass blocker. I think he would work very well in a scheme like, one that Andy Reid runs, or maybe like Cliff Kingsbury up in Washington now, that air raid type of offense where they're always going to be, well, not always, but mainly going to be in shotgun, like that type of scheme for right now. And then you develop him as a run blocker. He should get better. He has the athleticism, I think, to do so. You just got to teach him. Christian Mahogany out of Boston College. And kind of similar to Goncalves, he just doesn't have that like nastiness, but he is decent in the run game. And he does also have a very good anchor on the interior. He is a decent pass blocker. He was first team All ACC this year. How about that from old BC? But he is also like pretty athletic for his size, 6'3", 322. That's a meaty boy. And he does have the athleticism, even though his run game or his run blocking game isn't like, polished. He does get up to the second level, and there were times here and there, it wasn't consistent, where he would pancake guys, and that's what I want to see more of in the run game. He has the athleticism to be a pin and pull type of blocker in the run game. I said pin and pull, a puller in the run game. So you can use him on traps and like some toss plays here and there, some outside running schemes. I think he will end up being a really good run blocker in the league. I currently have him going around that round 3, the late day 2 kind of area. Maybe he falls into day 3. I highly doubt it with his traits and his resume too. I mean, first team All ACC or ACC. That's pretty solid. He did, however, because he is like he's got a good anchor in the pass game, decent hands as well. There were a couple times in the Clemson game, I think it was, where he kind of got fooled or miscommunicated on stunts, which it's in college they don't really run stunts that much, but in the NFL, you're going to find they're stunting on almost every single play, especially when they're blitzing on like third downs and trying to get you behind the sticks, maybe on first down. So he does have to get better at that. Maybe it was just communication across the offensive line wasn't very great. I don't know, but it seemed to be like both guys were a little confused on stunts in that game. So I'm not too worried about it, though. I think he has a lot of upside to him, and we will see him at the combine where hopefully he shows his athleticism, because that's obviously the thing that you want to show when you're at the combine. is the athleticism that you have. And I think Mahogany could be a big riser at the combine. On to the next. Wazoo, baby. Where you at? Jaden Hicks, the safety from Washington State University. And boy, oh boy, teams are going to be absolutely ecstatic with this kid's size and athleticism. He is incredibly rangy and versatile. He was playing in the box. He would rush off the edge. He could play over the top. I mean, he can play anywhere. He played in the slot a little bit as well. Maybe not the best coverage safety right now, but he can definitely play over the top. He can come down and play in the box. He loves to hit people, man. He's a really good tackler, in my opinion, and that's going to be a really big thing for teams. But I think it was the Stanford game, or maybe the Oregon State, where he just leveled a dude coming across the middle. I think it was a tight end, and knocked the wind out of him. That's for damn sure. But Jaden Hicks, I will say one thing. When he got injured this year, there was a little bit of confusion why he didn't come back. And like, I think he was fine after like 2 weeks. And it was when WSU started losing. He didn't come back for a little bit. Finally came back at the end of the season. He played in the Apple Cup, had a really, really good interception against Michael Penix, where he basically just ripped it out of the receiver's hands. Great concentration. He does have ball skills. He had a pick six against Colorado State in the first game of the season, which was awesome. But he definitely has like the size, the athleticism, the agility to guard backs out of the backfield. He definitely has the size to guard tight ends at 6'3", almost 215 pounds. The kid's an animal. He's one of the younger players in this class, I believe. And I think he like just turned 21. I might be mistaken by that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case here. And I really think this kid could, like, if people start looking into the film, he could be as early as round 2, easily, in my opinion. Because he has the range, but he also has the versatility and the size to go down into the box. I could really see this dude being, this is going to sound homer both ways, but a Xavier McKinney type player, hopefully without the off the field stuff with McKinney, but we'll see, obviously. He is still very young, maybe a little bit immature at times. All the talent in the world, man. This is not just like a homer thing. Like, yes, I'm a Cougs fan. Yes, I go to WSU, but this kid, you got to watch out for him, man. He is special. And now to Ruke. Let me get this right. Orhorhoro? I hope that's right. Orhorhoro? Nah, there's not an extra O there. I don't know. Ruke O. Rookie. He is going to be a rookie. Defensive lineman out of Clemson, who I think started playing football just like 5-6 years ago in high school. Like he started in like his junior year of high school or something. Something ridiculous. I mean, the dude's physically gifted at 6'4", 291 pounds. He has so much athleticism inside of him. Like, we just need to pull it out. He's got the talent. He's got the athleticism. A coach just needs to pull it out of him. And this dude's going to be a fantastic player in the NFL. Maybe not, Hall of Famer, but he might, like, he's got, the potential to be a Pro Bowler, to be maybe an All-Pro. He can move all over the defensive line. He's extremely versatile. Like, I've watched him play on the edge. I watched him play inside, like literally on the center in the A gap. He played in the 3 tech. He played everywhere, dude. And he's a super good run defender. He's got a really high motor. He is going to keep going until the whistle is blown, and maybe even after that, which whatever way you swing on that could be a good or a bad thing. But it'll be a good thing to show up on tape when NFL teams are looking at this guy because, some defensive linemen, the players pass them. They're like, all right, my job's over. Like, I tried to keep contained. Oh, well. No, this dude, he will give you his best effort in contain and then go track the dude from behind if he gets past him. Like, he's got a fantastic motor, just a good all-around, like, I guess, not environment, but aura surrounding him. He ran like quite a few stunts with people across that D line, like Xavier Thomas and Tyler Davis and guys like that. However, he's not the greatest pass rusher. Sometimes he gets upfield a little too early. Like he beats guys in the run game even and gets up the field too quickly. Running backs just go right by him. And that can easily be fixed to discipline him a little bit more, but he's already a really good run defender. He has the potential and the talent to be a good pass rusher as well from the inside or the like a 3-4 D end. Just like I said, got to pull it out of him. He's still somewhat new to football. I'm pretty sure his family moved from Nigeria when he was young. Like I said, didn't play football until high school. Like still pretty like new to the sport, I'd say, but someone is going to get a pretty good player here who's going to make an instant impact, day one starter in my opinion, probably in round 3, round 4 area, I would say. And yeah, we're still in that area. We'll get to the real sleepers here soon. Don't worry. Like I said, super raw as a pass rusher still. He does have good length. He just needs to he doesn't always have a plan, it looks like. He kind of looks like he just runs at tackles and guards, sometimes the center, without a plan, and then it's kind of just halted. I think NFL coaches could get that out of him, and hopefully they do because I think he could be special one day. Now, on to one of my other favorite players who was also at the East West Shrine Bowl with Blake Watson, Mohamed Kamara, the edge out of Colorado State. And the only reason he's a sleeper is because he's 6'1" and he doesn't have super like long arms. Because outside of that, his pass rush is absurd. He plays good in the run. His strength is off the charts. I mean, he just moves people, but he can also he's got some speed when it looks like he's going to go for the power, swim back inside, beats people all the time with it. He did it all game at the East West Shrine Bowl. And he did it all game against Colorado, who I know doesn't have the greatest O-line, but man, he made a statement in that game. Obviously, though, when you are an edge rusher, you obviously want them to be, maybe around that 6'3" area. I don't think that affects Kamara's draft stock too much. Obviously, he didn't play as great of competition as everyone, but the dude still had 13 sacks and 50 pressures. Those are absurd numbers. Yeah, he doesn't have the bend that, the elite guys have, but man, he could be a great edge too. Like if you got a solid, let's say you got a Myles Garrett, TJ Watt type of edge player on one side. You put this dude across from him, all he's going to give you is production. Down in and down out. Maybe not the best run defender, but still makes plays in the run game on a somewhat consistent basis. His pass rush is just awesome, though. Like the power that he has. Yes, he has short arms, so, maybe NFL tackles can get to him and they'll have the technique to, stop him. I think the dude has the work ethic, though, that he will find a way to counter that, whether that's going inside or whether that's finding an outside rushing move that he can use. Because like I said, he doesn't have the best bend in the world by any means, and he is undersized, so it's going to be hard. But I also think he can move. He could be a 3-4 D end as well, like Ruke Orhorhoro. Jesus, I'm gonna butcher that name every time I say it. I'm sorry. But like Ruke, I think he can move to the 3-4 DN spot, while even maybe going inside more to that actual defensive tackle spot and run some stunts out of there, and you get production that way too. So I think Mohamed Kamara is a really good player. Obviously, we'll see him at the Combine. We saw him at the East West Shrine Bowl, and hopefully he puts that athleticism and power on display for y'all because the kid is awesome. Also, I can't believe I am doing this right now. Cody Schrader, the running back out of Missouri, 5'9", almost 215 pounds. This dude was an Ollie Gordon away from being the best running back in the nation. He was incredible. There was a point in the college football season where it was basically a given that this dude was getting 150 yards in a game. It was absolutely absurd to watch. Yes, some of it comes to the Missouri offensive scheme and the offensive line that played really well, but Cody Schrader in his own right deserves some credit because even though he is 5'9", guess what? He is also 215 pounds and will look to run your ass over. He has some actual power to his game. Yes, they can do that at 5'9". This kid's a little bowling ball out there. They used him pretty well in the receiving game as well. I watched the Georgia game. Obviously not his, best game ever, but that's a really good defense. And I think he had 2 touchdowns in that game, I think. And one of them was like a 20-yard run that he just broke on like a outside zone running play. But I love his center of gravity and his burst through holes. Maybe sometimes yes, I think his vision is good. Sometimes, though, it looks like he's just trying to beat guys to the outside instead of making a little jump cut. But he still has a jump cut to his game, and people literally bounce off of this dude. Like, it's fun to watch. I think I can't believe I'm even talking about this dude as a sleeper when he had 1,600 yards on the ground. Like, are you kidding me? Like, this dude's just going under the radar, and some team's going to get him in like the 4th, 5th, maybe even 6th round. And he'll be a running back 2 when he comes in. He's going to work his ass off. And then all of a sudden, you're going to be like, wait, why did he fall all the way to round 5, 6, 7? I don't know. Undrafted free agent. Like, come on. Production and film does not lie. Excuse me if you heard that. It doesn't lie. Some of the times it does. But if you're running back in the SEC putting over 1,600 yards, the production does not. That's that's all I have to say about that. Like I said, though, he is definitely a plus receiver out of the backfield. I think you could use him in his rookie year as a 3rd down back. But I also think you could use him in the 1st or 2nd down if you wanted to. So, yes, a little bit undersized, but so is Blake Watson, and I love that kid too. This should be a fun one. One of my favorite receivers in the class. I was really, really hoping he was going to do big things at Ole Miss this year. Zakhari Franklin, originally of the University of Texas, San Antonio, UTSA. He was a baller over there. In his 5th year, COVID year, transferred to Ole Miss, was like, I'm going big or going home. And he kind of went home with it. It was a complete mess at Ole Miss. So let's start with UTSA. 2022, stats are right in front of you. 93 catches, 1,100 yards, 15 touchdowns. I would say that's pretty good. The dude's 6'1", almost 190 pounds. Got great speed. This dude's a long strider, man. And he has a great catch radius. He goes up and gets balls. There was a couple times when I was watching film, even in the Conference USA championship game, I think they were playing North Texas. I might be wrong on that. I think it might have been a different game, but I think it was North Texas, and he just went up and got balls over people. The dude has great athleticism. Doesn't have the greatest agility by any means, and I think that's why his routes aren't super crisp by any means. He could definitely bulk up a little bit, but let's get into Ole Miss because it started off. He played one game, had 4 catches and a touchdown, or 2 catches and a touchdown in a game to start. Then he got some injury. I think it was a lower half injury, like a foot or lower leg, something like that. And then came back later in the season, and then all of a sudden he's away from the team, and he is actually dismissed from the team by Lane Kiffin, and then he came back. It was super confusing reading it. I'm sure you could find the actual story, and I didn't explain it as well, but it was just a very, very odd situation. So that's definitely going to be a question for NFL scouts. But this dude has all the talent in the world. I mean, 6'1", 190. That's prototypical X receiver in the NFL right now. You think 6'1", 190 to 200 pounds? Yeah, that's close to Malik Neighbors and like type size, maybe a little bit bigger actually, or taller, I should say. He's got the size, he's got the speed. Like I said, does not have the route running. He didn't have a super like big route tree that he had to run at UTSA, and obviously he didn't play that much at Ole Miss. But Lane Kiffin's offense doesn't really have a lot of route running in it either. So like we don't know about that. Hopefully we can see him at the combine and he can actually display some of it. Maybe he's gotten a little bit better at it. Maybe he's bulked up a little bit. But I think this dude's going to be a steal in probably day 3. He's going to be a steal for someone. So be on the lookout. Zakhari Franklin, go look him up. The dude's a dog. Omar Brown, safety out of Nebraska. I believe he was also a East-West Shrine guy, and he did pretty well down there, actually. I don't think he played in the game. He might have. He's got great instincts. He was a leader in Nebraska the 1 or 2 years he was there. Originally, he was it Northern Iowa, I think? Transferred over into the Big Ten at Nebraska. Played really well, I thought, at Nebraska, actually. And the one game where he really popped off the screen was this Minnesota game where he undercut a deep out route. Pure instincts, read the quarterback the whole way. And I think you saw a lot more of that on the Northern Iowa tape or wherever, Northern Illinois, whatever it was. I think you saw a lot more of that on that sort of tape before he got to Nebraska than when he was at Nebraska. You know, maybe that's just the role they had him playing, and that's why. But he played in the nickel a little bit. He played just, cover safety over the top. He played a little bit in the box. I think he could be useful in the box, in the slot, but we'll see what an NFL team wants to do with him. I do think, like I said, he has really good instincts. He showed and flashed ball skills. He plays downhill, man. He wants to come in, like on the run game, he wants to come up and smack you in the mouth. So he could definitely bulk up a little bit, I would say, at least play strength wise. Maybe not like, we want you to get to 215, but like play strength. Like you could probably bulk up a little bit, maybe 205, 210, somewhere in there. Like I said, I really like this kid. I think I had him on my East-West Shrine guys to look for. If any of you watch that, I will say one thing in coverage that he's got to be more disciplined with is, especially if you're playing in the slot, he keeps his eyes on the quarterback a little too long, trying to read him and like undercut routes or, go up and make a tackle. And sometimes guys would fly by him. So something to look for. It's, you got to take the good with the bad and try and coach that bad out of him. So that's why he is a sleeper. But he has some high potential, man. And I really like Omar Brown. As we go to Theo Johnson, the tight end out of Penn State, who made a presence. Let me just say that at the Senior Bowl. He was awesome down there. Obviously, fantastic size at 6'6", 264 pounds. Athleticism as well is off the charts. You're gonna see at the Senior Bowl, the combine, that this kid's athleticism is absurd. And he didn't even get used that much at Penn State. Maybe part of that is Drew Aller's just a little bit inaccurate and couldn't actually hit him. But he did have 7 touchdowns. He had over 10 yards a catch, just barely by 1 yard. And he's going to be a red zone threat for someone. Like, this is going to be your Jimmy Graham, like, throw it up in the red zone. We're going to flex Theo Johnson out wide and let him go up on a 6'1" corner and just toss it up to him, see what he can do. Like, that's who this guy's going to be. Could definitely get better at blocking, although he definitely developed as a run blocker at the Senior Bowl. I thought he looked pretty decent, actually. Obviously, he wasn't the best run blocker there, but, I mean, that's what this is all about, though. Like, you're trying to find guys. Sleepers is all about the potential and, guys being overlooked by these high-end prospects. And I think Theo Johnson is being overlooked still after a really good Senior Bowl where he showed off his hands and athleticism. I don't know if it's a guy that, like, you're going to, like a Kelsey or a Waller or Mark Andrews, where you're going to stand up in the slot. I think he's probably going to stay in line tight end. most of the time unless you're in the red zone, like I said. So that versatility maybe isn't really there yet with him, but get that run blocking a little bit coached up. He already has all of the receiving ability that you need and want. So Theo Johnson, really good player. He's going to be a steal for someone. I would bet in round 4 to 5 is where he was probably going to go. Ryan Flournoy, wide receiver out of Southeastern Missouri State, I believe. Or maybe it's just Southeastern Missouri. But I think it's Southeastern Missouri State. Or SEMO. Was at the Senior Bowl. Displayed some really good 50-50 skills. Contested catches is what I'm saying. Obviously, his size pops off. 6'2", almost 200 pounds. That's great size. Played at the FCS level down there at SEMO. I think it's SEMO. Or SEMO. Obviously, didn't run the biggest of route trees ever, but at the Senior Bowl, I thought on like go routes and deep in breakers that he actually looked pretty decent with release and route running. He doesn't have like the twitchiness, but at 6'2", that's pretty rare to have anyways. So if he can develop his route running, because he also doesn't have the greatest speed in the world, he's not going to blow you away. He's going to have to get technical with his route running. He's going to have to be a really good route runner to make a difference. I think his potential is super high. Obviously, he has prototypical size, like I said, and he is a very, very willing blocker. At the Senior Bowl, he was doing everything he could to show that, hey, I belong here, and I'm going to show you why. And one of them was in the run game. He gave 110% on every run rep that he had. Didn't really get featured too much in the game from what I remember. Like I said, at practice, his one-on-ones and the team drills, he looked pretty solid. And he definitely did belong there. So Ryan Flournoy, shout out to oh man, let me find it. Hold up. Shout out to Jason Lewis, who on my Senior Bowl risers also said Ryan Flournoy, because he did have some really good reps down there, and he put one of the most impressive players damn near on his ass in Darius Robinson out of Missouri, the edge. He almost put him on his ass run blocking. So Ryan Flournoy, definitely a guy to watch out in the mid to late day 3 area. I think he could be this year's Andre Iosivas. Iosivas. You guys know the Princeton wide receiver, if you remember him. He's on the Bengals now. I think he could be that type of player in this year's draft. Like he does have that potential. Obviously, Iosivas had the speed and the route running, I think, over Flournoy. But I think just comparing them as prospects, like I think Flournoy could be the Iosivas of this draft class. Super, super underrated and overlooked. Watch out for him, though. Now we getting into it. And it was North Texas who UTSA played with Zakhari Franklin, and I know why now. Mazin Richards, outside linebacker / edge, out of North Texas, the Mean Green, out of the Conference USA. Yes, this dude is undersized. Yes, when you watch him, he is super raw. And yes, he doesn't have the longest wings or the biggest wingspan, the longest arms, whatever it is. But the dude's got a great motor. He moved all across the D line. He was playing coverage in the slot. He was playing middle linebacker or weak side linebacker. This dude was everywhere. Everywhere for North Texas. He was flying all over the field. 100% effort, maybe even 120% effort. I might go that far. On every single play, he had, I think, a tackle for loss and like a couple pressures, a sack in that game. He had multiple tackles. He was all over the place, man. He's a 5th-year senior. I don't remember where he transferred from when he transferred to North Texas. Had 10.5 tackles for loss in 2023, only 3 sacks. One of them was in the conference championship game against UTSA. Or no, that was last year, sorry. So I'm just tripping now. But yeah, don't listen to what I just said. He did have 3 sacks, though, this year and 10.5 tackles for loss, just not in the conference championship. Regardless, I love his burst and explosiveness off the line. He's got some athleticism to him, and I think a creative D coordinator would love to have this kid on his team just because he's played so many different positions. Like he was guarding the running back, he was playing quarterback spy, he was, coming off the edge as a pass rusher, he was playing good run contain. He literally played everywhere, it felt like, in that game, and he was popping off the screen. I had to go look up who this kid was. Find out his name is Mazin Richards. So obviously, I know the size. This is going to be a long shot for some people because he definitely could go undrafted. I think he deserves a chance at least to be drafted by someone. Again, hopefully it's a creative defensive coordinator that can get the most out of him. But definitely a guy that, this is a football player, in my opinion. 100% or 110% effort on every single down. He wants to make the tackle, he wants to make the plays, but he does it for the team. Everything I saw about this dude online when I was looking him up and trying to do my research, because obviously I'm not going to put him in here if I don't think he actually has potential. This one's going to be a long shot for some of y'all. But go look up that conference championship game, and I promise you 44 pops off the screen. Promise. But that will do it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you want, another sleepers video, maybe down the line after the combine, I might be able to provide that. Let me know though down in the comments if you want to see that. I think we're going to have running back rankings and maybe wide receiver rankings coming out in the next week or so. So be on the lookout for that. Obviously, I know Bears franchise is kind of taking like a back seat for all the draft stuff that's happening right now. Don't worry. It's on the way. I promise. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, subscribe, and comment who your biggest draft sleeper is right now in the comments, because I'd love to know. Like, obviously, I want to know who your Mazin Richards is, or Mazin, I don't know. I want to know who your Mazin Richards is in the comments. Let me know, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.